I'm Samantha Miller, 34, raising my beautiful daughter Lily, who just turned 11 last month. My relationship with my younger sister Rebecca has always been complicated, but nothing prepared me for what happened at Thanksgiving. Watching my daughter's eyes fill with tears as Rebecca orchestrated a game where everyone mocked Lily while praising her cousin Mackenzie broke something inside me. The confusion and hurt on my little girl's face as she tried to smile through their cruel comments still haunts me. Before I tell you what happened to my daughter at what should have been a simple family gathering, let me know where you're watching from and subscribe if you've ever had to protect your child from your own family. Growing up, Rebecca was always the golden child in our family. Just 2 years younger than me, she somehow managed to capture all the attention and affection our parents had to give. While I worked hard in school, bringing home straight A's and taking on leadership positions, Rebecca charmed her way through life with her bubbly personality and theatrical tears whenever things didn't go her way. Our parents, Martha and Richard Miller, never tried to hide their preference. When I made honor roll, they'd nod and say, "Of course you did." When Rebecca passed a class with a C+, they'd throw a celebration dinner. My academic achievements were expected, her minimal efforts were praised as extraordinary. This pattern continued throughout our childhood and teenage years. I remember my 16th birthday when I received a used bike while Rebecca got a car for hers 2 years later. "You're more practical, Sam," my mother explained with a dismissive wave. Besides, Rebecca has more friends to visit. These small moments of obvious favoritism accumulated over the years, building a wall between us that I never quite figured out how to scale. When I got pregnant at 22 with my then-boyfriend Tyler, the disappointment from my family was palpable. Tyler disappeared from the picture within weeks of the pregnancy test, leaving me alone to face my parents' judgment. "We expected better from you, Samantha," my father said, shaking his head. My mother couldn't even look at me for days. The pregnancy wasn't planned, but from the moment I knew about Lily, I loved her fiercely. I finished my degree in hospital administration while working part-time and caring for my infant daughter. My parents provided minimal support, always reminding me that my poor life choices had created this situation. 2 years after Lily was born, Rebecca married James, a successful investment banker she'd met at a charity gala. Their wedding was an extravagant affair that my parents spared no expense for, despite claiming financial constraints when I needed help with childcare. Within a year of their marriage, Rebecca announced her pregnancy. Mackenzie was born just 6 months after Lily turned 3. From the beginning, the cousins were compared. Mackenzie took her first steps 2 weeks earlier than Lily had. Mackenzie spoke in full sentences so much more clearly than Lily at the same age. Mackenzie's private preschool was so much more enriching than the daycare I could afford for Lily. Every milestone became a competition that my parents and Rebecca seemed determined to have Mackenzie win. As the girls grew, their personalities emerged. Lily was thoughtful, creative, and sensitive. She loved reading and could spend hours drawing intricate pictures or creating stories about magical worlds. She was slightly introverted but deeply loyal to her few close friends. Mackenzie, on the other hand, was outgoing and athletic. She excelled at sports, had a wide social circle, and carried herself with the confidence of someone who had always been told they were special. I tried to shield Lily from the obvious favoritism. We limited family gatherings to holidays and occasional Sunday dinners. I worked extra shifts to provide Lily with art classes and books to nurture her interests. At night, I would tell her stories about brave girls who found their own paths and valued their unique talents. "You're perfect exactly as you are," became our bedtime mantra. Despite my efforts, Lily noticed the difference in how she was treated. Grandma gave Mackenzie $20 for finishing a puzzle, but she didn't say anything when I showed her my art project. She'd observe quietly. Or, Uncle James got Mackenzie a new bike, but he forgot my birthday. Each observation squeezed my heart, but I tried to explain that people show love in different ways and that our little family of 2 was complete and wonderful. I maintained a cordial relationship with Rebecca for Lily's sake, though our interactions were strained and superficial. We exchanged pleasantries at family gatherings and coordinated gift exchanges for the girls, but rarely spoke otherwise. Rebecca's social media was filled with perfectly staged photos of her blessed family and thinly veiled references to how thankful she was that her life had turned out right. This year, I received a promotion at the hospital where I work, which came with increased responsibilities including holiday coverage. When Rebecca surprisingly invited Lily and me to Thanksgiving dinner while I worked a morning shift, I hesitated but ultimately accepted. Lily was excited to see her cousin, and I thought perhaps after all these years, we could begin to heal the rift between us. I had no idea I was walking my daughter straight into a trap that would leave lasting emotional scars. The invitation came 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, catching me completely off guard. Rebecca rarely initiated contact outside of group family texts, so seeing her name pop up on my phone with a direct message was unusual enough to make me pause. "Sam, we're hosting Thanksgiving this year. Mom and Dad will be here, plus Aunt Patricia and Uncle Robert with their kids. James and I would love for you and Lily to join us. I know we haven't always been close, but the girls should spend holidays together. Let me know." I stared at the message for a long time, trying to decipher if there was some hidden motive. Rebecca had never shown interest in strengthening our relationship before. Part of me wanted to decline immediately, make up some excuse about other plans, but another part, the part that still hoped for family reconciliation, wanted to accept. When I showed the message to Lily, her face lit up. "Can we go, Mom? Please? I haven't seen Mackenzie in forever." The excitement in her voice made the decision for me. Despite my reservations, I couldn't deny Lily the chance to feel included in the extended family. I replied to Rebecca that we'd be happy to attend, explaining that I'd need to work a morning shift at the hospital first but would arrive in time for the late afternoon meal. My position as an administrator in the pediatric department required someone to be on call during holidays, and as the newest member of the management team, that responsibility fell to me this year. "That's fine," Rebecca texted back. "We'll plan to eat around 4. Bring a side dish if you want, but don't worry if you're too busy. I know how challenging your situation must be." That last sentence, with its hint of condescension, reminded me why our relationship was so strained, but I chose to ignore it for Lily's sake. The week before Thanksgiving, Lily and I went shopping for gifts for everyone. We couldn't afford much, but Lily insisted on finding something special for Mackenzie. She eventually selected a friendship bracelet kit, explaining, "Maybe we could make them together during Thanksgiving." Her hopefulness made my chest ache. We also bought ingredients for my grandmother's sweet potato casserole, the one recipe that had been passed down to me. As we shopped, Lily chattered excitedly about seeing her cousin and grandparents, while I mentally prepared myself for the subtle judgments and comparisons that would inevitably arise. The night before Thanksgiving, Lily laid out her outfit 3 times before settling on a purple dress with black leggings and her favorite boots. I found her meticulously brushing her hair before bed. "I want to look nice tomorrow," she explained, meeting my eyes in the mirror. "Mackenzie always looks so pretty in the pictures Aunt Rebecca posts." I sat beside her on the bed, taking the brush to help with the tangled section. "You're beautiful, Lily, inside and out. Your cousin may have expensive clothes, but you have something much more valuable, a kind heart and creative mind." Lily nodded, but I could tell she wasn't entirely convinced. At 11, she was becoming increasingly aware of material differences and social status. The modest 2-bedroom apartment we called home was a far cry from Rebecca's 4-bedroom house in an exclusive neighborhood. Our second-hand furniture couldn't compare to their designer pieces. These disparities, once meaningless to Lily, were now becoming apparent through her preteen eyes. "Mom," she asked as I tucked her in, "do you think Grandma and Grandpa will like the cards I made them?" Lily had spent hours creating personalized cards for everyone, drawing little scenes that represented something special about each person. For my father, she'd drawn his beloved fishing boat. For my mother, a garden with vibrant flowers. Each card was a testament to Lily's thoughtfulness and artistic talent. "They'll love them, sweetheart," I assured her, hoping I wasn't lying. "Now get some sleep. We have an early morning tomorrow." After Lily fell asleep, I sat at our small kitchen table preparing a mental defense against the inevitable slights tomorrow would bring. I rehearsed neutral responses to questions about my job, my dating life, non-existent, and our living situation. I practiced the smile I would wear when Rebecca showcased her latest luxury purchase or when my mother made thinly veiled suggestions about how I could improve my parenting. Before heading to bed, I looked through old family photos, wondering when the divide between Rebecca and me had become so vast. Was it always there, or had it grown over time like a slow-spreading crack in a foundation? Either way, tomorrow we would step into the fissure, and I could only hope we'd emerge unscathed. The next morning, I dropped Lily at our neighbor Mrs. Jenkins' apartment while I worked my shift at the hospital. When I picked her up at noon, she had already changed into her purple dress and was vibrating with excitement. "Do you think Mackenzie will want to play with me?" she asked as we drove to Rebecca's neighborhood. "I brought my new card game just in case." "I'm sure she will," I said, ignoring the knot in my stomach. The last time the girls had played together, Mackenzie had lost interest after 20 minutes and declared Lily's games boring. As we turned onto Rebecca Street, the houses grew progressively larger and more ornate. Holiday decorations adorned perfectly manicured lawns, and luxury vehicles sat in circular driveways. Rebecca's house, a sprawling colonial with white columns and black shutters, stood near the end of the cul-de-sac, professionally decorated with tasteful fall wreaths and arrangements. I parked my 10-year-old Honda beside my parents' Mercedes and Aunt Patricia's Range Rover, suddenly feeling like we had arrived at a country club where our membership had been mistakenly approved. Taking a deep breath, I turned to Lily. "Remember what we always say?" Lily smiled, reciting our mantra, "We are enough exactly as we are." With the sweet potato casserole in one hand and the gift bag in the other, I led my daughter to the front door, hoping against hope that this Thanksgiving would finally bridge the gap between the two branches of our family tree. Rebecca opened the door before we could ring the bell, her perfect smile firmly in place. She wore a designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent, her hair and makeup flawless as if she were posing for a magazine spread rather than hosting a family dinner. "Sam, Lily, you made it," she exclaimed, air-kissing my cheek without making contact. Her eyes quickly scanned our appearances, and I saw the slight twitch of her lips that indicated she found us lacking. "Everyone's in the living room. Come in, come in." The entryway of Rebecca's home featured soaring ceilings, marble floors, and a massive chandelier that probably cost more than my car. Family photos lined the walls, all professionally taken, all featuring Rebecca, James, and Mackenzie in color-coordinated outfits against picturesque backgrounds. I noticed there wasn't a single picture that included Lily or me. "I brought Grandma's sweet potato casserole," I said, offering the dish. Rebecca took it with her fingertips as if it might contaminate her. "Oh, how traditional. I'll have Maria put it in the kitchen." She handed the dish to her housekeeper, who appeared silently from a side room. "And these are for everyone," Lily said eagerly, holding up the gift bag containing her handmade cards. "How sweet," Rebecca said, taking the bag and placing it on a console table without looking inside. "Mackenzie, come say hello to your cousin." Mackenzie appeared at the top of the curved staircase, looking like she'd stepped out of a children's fashion catalog. Her highlighted hair was pulled back in a perfect ponytail, and she wore an outfit that I recognized from a high-end children's boutique I'd walked past but never entered due to the exorbitant prices. "Hi, Aunt Samantha," she said with rehearsed politeness before turning to Lily. "Oh, you're wearing purple again. You wore that color last time I saw you." Lily's smile faltered slightly. "It's my favorite color." "I used to like purple when I was 9, Mackenzie replied with the casual cruelty only children can perfect. "I'm into teal now. It's more mature." Before Lily could respond, Rebecca ushered us into the living room where the rest of the family was gathered. My parents sat on the plush sectional sofa, cocktails in hand. They stood when we entered, my mother coming forward to embrace me stiffly before turning her full attention to Lily. "There's my other granddaughter," she said, examining Lily with critical eyes. "You've grown since summer. Still so skinny though. Doesn't your mother feed you?" I eat lots, Grandma, Lily replied earnestly. Mom makes really good spaghetti. Well, you'll have a proper meal today, my mother said with a pointed look in my direction. Rebecca has prepared a magnificent feast. My father patted Lily's head awkwardly before returning to his conversation with James about stock portfolios and investment strategies. Aunt Patricia and Uncle Robert sat near the fireplace with their two teenage sons, who barely looked up from their phones to acknowledge our arrival. Sam, what are you drinking? Rebecca asked, already moving toward the bar cart. White wine. We're still sticking to soft drinks because of your history? My history referred to one college party where I'd had too much to drink, something Rebecca never let me forget, despite her own wild phase that our parents had conveniently overlooked. Water is fine, I replied. I drove here and have to drive home tonight. Always the responsible one, Rebecca said with a laugh that somehow made it sound like a character flaw. James, darling, get Samantha some water. James nodded in my direction as he fixed my drink. He'd always been polite but distant, as if unsure how to interact with his wife's less fortunate sister. How's work, Samantha? He asked, handing me a glass of ice water with lemon. It's good. I received a promotion last month to senior administrator for the pediatric department. That's why she had to work this morning, Rebecca interjected before I could elaborate. Some of us have to work holidays, can you imagine? The promotion came with a nice raise, I added, trying to maintain my dignity. And the schedule is more flexible for Lily's school activities. Speaking of achievements, my mother chimed in, Mackenzie was just selected for the regional gymnastics team. Only 5 girls in her age group were chosen. All eyes turned to Mackenzie, who performed a perfect cartwheel across the living room to enthusiastic applause. Lily watched with admiration before tentatively raising her hand. I got selected for the school art show, she offered. My painting of the city park is going to be displayed in the main hallway. A brief silence followed before Aunt Patricia said, That's nice, dear, and immediately returned to the topic of Mackenzie's gymnastics accomplishments. I watched the light dim in Lily's eyes and felt a familiar mixture of heartache and anger. Uncle Robert, who had always been the most decent member of the family, caught my eye and gave me a sympathetic smile before turning to Lily. I'd love to see your artwork sometime, Lily, he said kindly. I always enjoyed drawing when I was your age. Lily brightened at his interest. I brought pictures on my mom's phone. Want to see? As Lily showed Uncle Robert her artwork, I noticed Rebecca watching with narrowed eyes. She whispered something to my mother, who glanced at Lily and me before nodding with a small frown. Dinner prep is nearly complete, Rebecca announced. Mackenzie, why don't you show Lily your new playroom while the adults finish getting everything ready? Do I have to? Mackenzie whined. Be a good hostess, sweetie, Rebecca coaxed. You can show her your gymnastics trophies. Mackenzie sighed dramatically but motioned for Lily to follow her upstairs. Lily looked at me questioningly, and I nodded encouragingly, hoping some one-on-one time might help the girls connect. Once the children were out of earshot, the conversation shifted to topics that highlighted the disparity between our lives, Rebecca and James's upcoming vacation to the Maldives, their recent home renovation, the private school Mackenzie attended. Each topic seemed carefully selected to emphasize what Lily and I lacked. When Rebecca suggested I help in the kitchen, I was actually relieved to escape the living room dynamics. As I entered the gourmet kitchen with its double ovens and marble countertops, I found Maria efficiently managing most of the cooking while Rebecca supervised. You can set out the cranberry sauce, Rebecca instructed me, pointing to several crystal dishes. Use the small silver spoons for serving. As I arranged the dishes, Rebecca continued her running commentary on her perfect life, pausing occasionally to issue instructions to Maria or to check on the status of various dishes. When Lily's handmade cards were mentioned, Rebecca dismissed them with a wave. It's cute that she makes things. Mackenzie's so busy with her activities that she doesn't have time for crafts anymore. We ordered custom thank you cards from my stationer instead. The sound of footsteps on the stairs announced the girls' return. Lily entered the kitchen first, her expression subdued compared to her earlier excitement. "Can I help with anything, Mom?" she asked quietly. Before I could respond, Rebecca interjected, "Mackenzie, darling, come taste this sauce and tell me if it needs more seasoning. You have such a refined palate." Mackenzie importantly dipped a silver spoon into the gravy boat and tasted it with exaggerated consideration. "Maybe a tiny bit more salt, Mom." Such a sophisticated taste tester, Rebecca praised. "Lily, you can help by taking these napkins to the dining room and putting one at each place setting." Lily nodded and carefully took the stack of embroidered napkins. As she left, I noticed Mackenzie smirking at her cousin's assigned task compared to her own more important role. The contrast in how the girls were treated wasn't subtle, but rather seemed intentionally orchestrated to emphasize their different standings in the family hierarchy. When dinner was finally ready, we gathered around Rebecca's formal dining table, which had been set with fine china, crystal, and silver. Place cards indicated our seating arrangements. Lily and I were separated, with her placed at the far end of the table between my teenage cousins who immediately resumed their phone activities, while I was seated between Uncle Robert and Aunt Patricia, directly across from Rebecca. As the food was passed around, I noticed my mother serving Mackenzie twice the portion she gave Lily, commenting on how active children need proper nutrition. When Lily tried to join a conversation about school, sharing her excitement about a science project, she was repeatedly talked over until she eventually fell silent, picking at her food with downcast eyes. Throughout the meal, I tried to catch Lily's attention, offering encouraging smiles whenever our eyes met. But as the dinner progressed, I watched my daughter retreat further into herself, her initial excitement completely extinguished by the family's obvious favoritism. What I didn't realize was that the worst was yet to come, and that Rebecca had planned an after-dinner activity that would push both Lily and me to our breaking points. After dinner, the adults migrated to the living room with coffee and dessert while the children were directed to the basement recreation room. Rebecca had converted the space into a child's paradise with a movie area, gaming systems, ping-pong table, and a crafting corner that looked suspiciously unused. "The kids can entertain themselves while we digest," Rebecca announced, pouring wine for the adults. "Maria will check on them periodically." I felt uneasy about the separation. Maybe I should go down with them? Lily can be shy in groups. "Don't be such a helicopter parent, Sam," my mother chided. "Lily needs to learn to socialize without you hovering." Reluctantly, I stayed with the adults, though I positioned myself where I could see the basement stairs. The conversation flowed around me, property values, stock portfolios, Mackenzie's achievements. While I smiled and nodded at appropriate intervals, my attention divided. About 20 minutes into our coffee, Rebecca pulled out her phone and tapped the screen a few times. "I just had the most fun idea," she announced. "I told the kids to play the comparison game. It's adorable, I can watch them on the security camera app." "What's the comparison game?" I asked, instantly alert. Rebecca waved dismissively. "Oh, it's just a fun activity where they say nice things about each other. Kids love it. Here, I'll put it on the big screen so we can all watch." Before I could object, Rebecca had connected her phone to the large television mounted above the fireplace. The screen displayed a high-definition feed of the basement rec room where 6 children sat in a circle on the floor: Mackenzie, Lily, and 4 cousins ranging from ages 8 to 15. "Okay, I'll go first," Mackenzie was saying, her voice coming clearly through the speakers. "I think my hair is prettier than Lily's because mine is highlighted and hers is just plain brown." My stomach dropped as understanding dawned. This wasn't a game about saying nice things, it was structured humiliation disguised as entertainment. "Now you go, Jake," Mackenzie instructed my teenage nephew. Jake barely looked up from his phone. Mackenzie is better at sports than Lily because Lily throws like she's afraid of the ball." The adults in the living room, except for Uncle Robert and me, chuckled at this assessment. "My turn," said 12-year-old Emma. "Mackenzie's clothes are super stylish, and Lily's look like they're from the discount bin at Target." More laughter from the adults. I stood up, horrified, but Rebecca placed a hand on my arm. Sit down, Sam. It's just kids being kids. They don't mean anything by it. On screen, I could see Lily's face growing increasingly flushed as each comparison singled her out for criticism while praising Mackenzie. She was trying to smile, to be a good sport, but her eyes betrayed her hurt. Mackenzie is good at making friends, but Lily is so quiet that sometimes I forget she's even here, offered another cousin. Mackenzie got picked for the gymnastics team, but Lily can't even do a cartwheel without falling, added Jake, warming to the game. Mackenzie's science project won first place, but Lily's art thing is just hanging in a hallway where people probably don't even notice it, Emma continued. With each comparison, Lily seemed to physically shrink, her shoulders hunching forward as if trying to make herself smaller and less of a target. Meanwhile, Mackenzie sat tall, basking in the praise and occasionally adding her own comparisons. "This is bullying," I said firmly, standing again. "I'm going down there right now." "Don't be so sensitive," Rebecca scoffed. "They're just playing." "Look," Lily's smiling. The strained smile on my daughter's face was clearly a desperate attempt to hold back tears. As I moved toward the basement stairs, Rebecca picked up her phone again. "Oh, Mackenzie's going to ask Lily to share her comparisons now. This should be good." On screen, Mackenzie turned to Lily with a smug expression. "Your turn, Lily. Tell us something you're better at than me." Lily hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. I guess I like drawing more than you do." "That's not how the game works," Mackenzie corrected with exaggerated patience. "You're supposed to say what I'm better at than you." "Oh," Lily said quietly. "You're better at gymnastics than me." "And?" Mackenzie prompted. "You have more friends than me," Lily added, her voice barely audible now. "And my clothes are prettier, right?" Mackenzie insisted. Lily nodded, a tear finally escaping despite her efforts to contain it. Seeing that tear streaming down my daughter's cheek galvanized me. I rushed down the basement stairs, vaguely aware of Rebecca following behind me with her phone still recording. "Game's over," I announced as I entered the room. 6 startled faces turned toward me. "Mom, we're just playing," Mackenzie protested. "It's a stupid game," I replied, moving to Lily's side and placing a protective arm around her shoulders. I could feel her trembling. Rebecca appeared at the bottom of the stairs, her expression a mixture of annoyance and amusement. "Why are you making such a big deal out of this? The kids are having fun." "Really? Does Lily look like she's having fun to you?" I challenged, gesturing to my daughter's tear-streaked face. Rebecca rolled her eyes. "She's always been oversensitive. Honestly, Sam, this is why she doesn't fit in, you baby her too much. Kids need to develop thicker skin." That's when Lily broke down completely, her quiet tears transforming into heart-wrenching sobs. The sound of my child crying while surrounded by people who should care about her well-being broke something inside me. The restraint I'd maintained throughout years of slights and insults evaporated in an instant. The confrontation that followed would change our family dynamics forever, bringing long-simmering tensions to a boiling point from which there would be no return to our previous uneasy truce. "What is wrong with you?" I demanded, my voice low and dangerous as I stared at my sister. "What kind of adult orchestrates a game where children mock each other? Where an 11-year-old is systematically humiliated for entertainment?" Rebecca's eyes widened at my tone, and used to me standing up to her so directly. "Don't be so dramatic, Samantha. It's just harmless fun." "Harmless?" I echoed, gesturing toward Lily who was trying desperately to stifle her sobs. "You call this harmless?" By now, the commotion had drawn the rest of the adults downstairs. My mother pushed her way forward, her lips pressed into a thin line of disapproval directed at me, not Rebecca. "Samantha, you're overreacting," she said dismissively. "Children need to learn to take a joke." "This isn't a joke, Mom. It's systematic bullying, and you're all participating in it." I turned to Rebecca again. "Was this your plan all along? Invite us to Thanksgiving just to humiliate my daughter?" Rebecca had the audacity to look offended. "Don't be ridiculous. I invited you because it's Thanksgiving and your family. It's not my fault if Lily can't handle a little teasing. A little teasing? I repeated incredulously. You recorded it. You were broadcasting it to the adults upstairs like some sick reality show. You always blow everything out of proportion, Rebecca said with an exaggerated sigh. This is why nobody wants to spend time with you, Sam. You turn everything into a drama. My father, who had remained silent until now, cleared his throat uncomfortably. Perhaps we should all calm down and return to the living room. The children can watch a movie instead. His attempt at peacemaking only fueled my anger. No, Dad. I'm not going to calm down and pretend this is okay. I've been doing that for years, and look where it's gotten us. Uncle Robert stepped forward, placing a supportive hand on my shoulder. Sam's right. That wasn't a harmless game. It was mean-spirited and targeted specifically at Lily. I'm surprised at all of you for condoning it. Rebecca's face flushed with anger at being challenged. Oh please, it's not like this is the first time we've played this game. The kids love it. Her words hit me like a physical blow. What do you mean, not the first time? You've done this before? An awkward silence fell over the room. My mother suddenly became very interested in examining her manicure, while my father shifted uncomfortably from foot to foot. You've all been doing this to Lily behind my back? I asked, my voice rising in disbelief. At what other family gatherings has my daughter been the designated target? It's just a way for the kids to bond, Aunt Patricia offered weakly. Bond? I nearly shouted the word. How does humiliating one child help anyone bond? Mackenzie, who had been watching the adult confrontation with growing unease, suddenly spoke up. Lily's just a crybaby. We play this at Grandma's house all the time when you're working. The betrayal cut deep. All those times I'd picked Lily up from my parents' house after they'd offered to watch her while I worked extra shifts, times when she'd been unusually quiet on the drive home, they'd been allowing this psychological torture. Is this true? I asked my parents directly. You've been letting this happen in your home? My mother finally met my gaze. You're making this into something it's not, Samantha. The girls need to learn about healthy competition. There's nothing healthy about this, I retorted. And this isn't competition, it's cruelty. Rebecca, apparently tired of being cast as the villain, went on the offensive. This is why Lily's so awkward, you know. You shelter her from everything. The real world isn't going to coddle her the way you do. Protecting my child from emotional abuse isn't coddling her, I said through gritted teeth. It's called being a parent. Something you might want to try sometime instead of raising a bully. Rebecca gasped. How dare you call Mackenzie a bully? She's a leader. It's not her fault if Lily can't keep up. A leader? I laughed bitterly. Is that what we're calling it now? Your daughter has been taught that putting others down makes her superior. That's not leadership, that's textbook bullying behavior. As our argument escalated, James finally intervened, stepping between Rebecca and me. Ladies, please. It's Thanksgiving. Let's not ruin the holiday with this misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? I repeated. There's no misunderstanding here, James. Your wife and my parents have been systematically undermining my daughter's self-esteem, and you've all been complicit. Now wait just a minute, my father interjected, his face reddening. You can't talk to us that way. We've done nothing but try to help you and Lily over the years. Help us? I was almost shouting now. By making Lily feel less than? By treating her like she's somehow defective compared to her cousin? That's not help, that's harm. Aunt Patricia, always one to avoid direct conflict, tried to change the subject. Perhaps if Lily were involved in more structured activities like Mackenzie, she wouldn't be so sensitive. Have you considered gymnastics classes? Or beauty pageants? They build confidence. The suggestion was so tone-deaf that I could only stare at her in disbelief. Meanwhile, Lily had moved to stand beside Uncle Robert, the only adult besides me who had shown her any real kindness. "I think," Uncle Robert said firmly, "that Lily is a wonderful, creative, intelligent young lady who deserves to be appreciated for who she is, not constantly compared to someone else." Rebecca rolled her eyes. "Oh, stop being so politically correct, Uncle Robert. Not everyone gets a trophy in real life. Lily needs to toughen up. And Mackenzie needs to learn compassion," I shot back. "But with you as her mother, I'm not holding my breath." The room fell silent at my direct attack. Rebecca's face contorted with rage as she stepped toward me. "You're just jealous," she hissed. "You've always been jealous of me. Jealous that Mom and Dad love me more. Jealous that I have a successful husband while you got knocked up and abandoned. Jealous that Mackenzie is special while Lily is, well, ordinary." Her words hung in the air like poison gas. I felt Lily stiffen beside me, and a fresh wave of tears welled in her eyes. In that moment, with crystal clarity, I knew we could never repair this relationship. The toxicity ran too deep. "We're leaving," I announced, taking Lily's hand. "Thank you for showing me exactly who you are, Rebecca. I won't make the mistake of forgetting it again." As we turned to go, Rebecca called after us, "Don't be so dramatic, Sam. This is why no one can stand being around you." I paused at the bottom of the stairs, turning back to face my family one last time. "No, Rebecca. This is why Lily and I will never be around any of you again." My mother gasped. "Samantha, you don't mean that. You can't keep our granddaughter from us." "Watch me," I replied, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside me. "You lost the privilege of being grandparents when you decided it was acceptable to make her feel worthless." As we climbed the stairs, I could hear the arguments erupting behind us, my mother blaming my father for not stopping me, Rebecca complaining that I'd ruined Thanksgiving, James trying to mediate. Only Uncle Robert's voice rose in our defense, calling out the family's behavior for what it was, abusive. In the entryway, I helped Lily into her coat, fighting back my own tears as I saw the devastation on her face. The handmade cards she'd created with such care still sat untouched on the console table. I gathered them up and placed them in my purse. Tangible reminders of why we could never return to this house or these relationships. As we stepped outside into the cold November evening, Lily looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. "Mom," she whispered. "Are we really never going to see them again?" I knelt down to her level, brushing a strand of hair from her tear-stained face. "Some people, even family, aren't safe to be around, sweetheart. And I will always, always choose your safety and happiness over anything else." She nodded slowly, understanding far more than any 11-year-old should have to. As we walked to the car, I heard the front door open behind us. Turning, I saw Uncle Robert hurrying down the path. "Sam, Lily, wait," he called. "I'm coming with you. I can't be part of that, whatever that was in there. It wasn't right." His unexpected alliance gave me hope that perhaps not all family bonds were toxic. As we drove away from Rebecca's house, I made a silent promise to Lily and myself. We would rebuild our sense of family with people who truly loved and valued us, even if none of those people shared our DNA. The first 15 minutes of our drive home passed in complete silence. Lily stared out the window, occasionally wiping away a stray tear, while I white-knuckled the steering wheel, replaying the confrontation in my mind and second-guessing my decision to cut ties so definitively with my family. When we reached the main road, I suddenly pulled into the parking lot of Lily's favorite ice cream shop, Scoops and Smiles. "Ice cream? But it's freezing outside," Lily said, momentarily distracted from her sadness. "There's never a wrong temperature for ice cream therapy," I replied, attempting a smile. "Besides, I think we've earned a treat after surviving that disaster." Inside the nearly empty shop, we ordered massive sundaes, chocolate fudge brownie for Lily, butter pecan for me, and settled into a corner booth away from the windows. For a few minutes, we ate in silence, the simple pleasure of ice cream providing a small balm to our wounded spirits. "Mom?" Lily finally said, setting down her spoon. "Has Mackenzie always hated me?" The question broke my heart. Oh, sweetheart, no. Mackenzie doesn't hate you. She's been taught some very unhealthy ways of interacting with others. But they've been playing that game with me before, Lily continued, confirming my worst fears. Whenever you'd drop me at Grandma's house and Mackenzie was there, they'd want to play it. Grandma said it was just for fun. I reached across the table and took her hand. Why didn't you tell me? Lily shrugged, studying her ice cream. Grandma said I shouldn't bother you because you were busy working. And Mackenzie said I was a tattletale if I told. Plus. She hesitated. Plus what, honey? Plus I thought maybe they were right, she whispered. Maybe I am just not as good as Mackenzie at anything. The admission unleashed a fresh wave of anger toward my family and guilt that I hadn't protected Lily better. Listen to me, I said firmly. You are extraordinary in ways that Mackenzie and the others can't even comprehend. Your creativity, your kindness, your thoughtfulness, those are rare and precious qualities. But I'm not pretty like Mackenzie. Or popular. Or good at sports, Lily countered. You're beautiful in your own unique way, I insisted. And popularity in 5th grade isn't a life achievement. As for sports, well, I've seen Mackenzie's gymnastics, and I've seen your art. Only one of those shows real heart and imagination. Lily gave me a small smile, then grew serious again. Are we really never going to see Grandma and Grandpa again? Or Aunt Rebecca and Mackenzie? I considered my answer carefully. Right now, I think we need some distance from people who make us feel bad about ourselves. That doesn't mean forever, but it does mean that if we ever have a relationship with them again, it will have to be different. They would need to understand that how they've treated you is wrong and be genuinely sorry for it. As we finished our ice cream, my phone began buzzing incessantly with texts and calls. I ignored them all, focusing instead on my daughter. We talked for nearly an hour in that ice cream shop, Lily gradually opening up about other incidents with Mackenzie and my parents that she'd kept hidden from me, cruel comments about her appearance, accidentally damaged artwork, privileges given to Mackenzie but denied to Lily. With each revelation, I felt simultaneously heartbroken and relieved, heartbroken that my child had endured such treatment, but relieved that it was finally in the open where we could address it together. When we finally arrived home, I suggested we build what we called a comfort nest, piling blankets and pillows in the living room, changing into pajamas despite it being only early evening, and selecting comfort movies from our collection. As we settled into our nest with The Princess Bride playing, I finally checked my phone. 27 text messages and 9 missed calls. Most were from my mother and Rebecca, ranging from angry accusations, "How dare you storm out and ruin Thanksgiving?" to attempts at gaslighting, "You're overreacting as usual," to guilt trips, "Your father is very upset, is this how you want to leave things?" Only Uncle Robert's messages offered support, "You did the right thing standing up for Lily. Let me know if you need anything. I've given Rebecca and your parents a piece of my mind." As Lily became engrossed in the movie, I crafted careful responses. To my parents and Rebecca, I wrote only, "I need time and space to process today's events. Please respect our boundaries by not contacting us for a while. Lily and I deserve better than what happened today." To Uncle Robert, I sent a more personal note, "Thank you for your support. It meant the world to both of us. Would love to have coffee sometime soon." Setting my phone aside, I rejoined Lily in our nest, wrapping an arm around her shoulders as we quoted our favorite lines from the movie. By the end of the film, she had fallen asleep against my side, emotionally exhausted from the day's events. Carefully extracting myself without waking her, I went to my small desk and began writing. I wrote down every quality I admired in my daughter: her creativity, her empathy, her resilience, her curiosity, her gentle spirit, her determination when faced with challenges. I wrote about specific moments when I'd been particularly proud of her, from small daily kindnesses to major achievements. I wrote until I had filled 3 pages with affirmations of Lily's worth, determined that these truths would speak louder than the lies she'd been told by others. I folded the letter and placed it on her nightstand to find in the morning. As I prepared for bed myself, I received one final text from Rebecca. Mackenzie is upset that Lily left without saying goodbye. You're teaching your daughter to be rude and oversensitive. Don't come crying to us when she can't function in the real world. The message only confirmed that I'd made the right decision. I blocked Rebecca's number without replying, then did the same with my parents' numbers. Uncle Robert remained my only family contact. The next morning, I called a therapist I knew through the hospital and scheduled an appointment for Lily. Then I made one for myself as well. The road to healing would be long, but we would travel it together, leaving behind the toxic family dynamics that had wounded us both for far too long. 1 month after the disastrous Thanksgiving, Lily sat cross-legged on Dr. Melissa Parker's colorful couch, carefully arranging figures in a sandbox. The child psychologist had created an immediate connection with my daughter, providing a safe space for Lily to process her feelings about our family situation. How are the sessions going? I asked Dr. Parker during our parent consultation while Lily waited in the lobby. Remarkably well, she replied. Lily is incredibly insightful for her age. She's beginning to understand that her worth isn't determined by comparison to others. The art therapy has been particularly effective. I nodded, thinking of the series of self-portraits Lily had created over the past weeks, each one more confident and colorful than the last. And how are your own therapy sessions going? Dr. Parker inquired. Challenging, I admitted. Recognizing patterns from my own childhood that I never questioned until now has been eye-opening. My sessions with Dr. Bennett, a family therapist specializing in toxic relationships, had revealed how deeply the family dynamics had affected me. I'd normalized behaviors that were far from normal, accepting emotional neglect and favoritism as simply how families are. Creating this physical and emotional distance from toxic family members is crucial for both of you right now, Dr. Parker confirmed. Your boundaries are appropriate and necessary. Those boundaries had been tested repeatedly over the past month. My parents had escalated from text messages to emails to showing up unannounced at our apartment, forcing me to be explicit, no contact unless and until they acknowledged the harm they'd caused and committed to change. Rebecca had vacillated between angry tirades and playing the victim on social media, posting thinly veiled references to ungrateful family members and the importance of family loyalty. Through it all, Uncle Robert remained our steadfast ally, meeting us for lunch every couple of weeks and respecting our need for space from the rest of the family. He'd even confronted my parents directly about their behavior, earning himself temporary outcast status alongside us. As Christmas approached, I worried that Lily would feel the absence of extended family traditions. I needn't have concerned myself. Can we invite Mrs. Jenkins for Christmas dinner? Lily asked one evening as we decorated our small tree. She told me she doesn't have any family nearby. Our elderly neighbor had become a frequent visitor since Thanksgiving, sharing her baking skills with Lily and regaling us with stories from her youth. Her kind presence filled some of the grandparent-shaped hole in our lives. That's a wonderful idea, I agreed. And maybe we could see if Uncle Robert wants to join us too. Yes. Lily exclaimed. And can we invite Ms. Diana and Zoe from art class? Diana Murray was a single mother I'd met at Lily's weekend art program. Her daughter Zoe was Lily's age, and the girls had formed a fast friendship. Diana and I had discovered common ground as single mothers navigating life's challenges, and our coffee chats during the girls' classes had become a highlight of my week. Our Christmas dinner ended up being a joyful gathering of what Uncle Robert dubbed our chosen family, Mrs. Jenkins, Uncle Robert, Diana, and Zoe, and 2 of my colleagues from the hospital with their children. The apartment was cramped but filled with genuine laughter and warmth that had been notably absent from our previous family gatherings. In January, an unexpected email arrived from James, Rebecca's husband. Can we meet for coffee? Just the 2 of us. There are some things you should know. Curious and cautious, I agreed to meet him at a cafe far from Rebecca's usual haunts. James looked tired and stressed, fidgeting with his wedding ring as he explained his reason for contacting me. Rebecca has always been jealous of you, he said directly. I know that sounds strange given how she acts, but it's true. Your parents made her feel special growing up, but she knew, she's always known, that she had to work for their approval while you earned it naturally. That's not how I remember it at all, I countered, thinking of countless incidents where Rebecca had been clearly favored. Your parents may have given Rebecca more material things and outward praise, James acknowledged, but they respected you in a way they never respected her. They expected you to succeed. With Rebecca, they were always surprised when she did well, which made her feel like they didn't believe in her capabilities. The perspective shift was jarring. While it didn't excuse Rebecca's behavior, it helped me understand the complex dynamics at play. I'm not asking you to forgive Rebecca, James continued. What happened at Thanksgiving was inexcusable. I've been pushing her to get therapy, but she refuses. I just thought you should know there's more to the story. As James prepared to leave, he added, for what it's worth, I've talked to Mackenzie about her behavior toward Lily. She's seeing a counselor now. Kids learn what they're taught, and I realize I've failed to intervene too many times. This small acknowledgement of responsibility was more than I'd received from any other family member. I thanked James for his honesty, though I maintained my boundary about contact with Rebecca. By spring, Lily had blossomed in ways I hadn't thought possible just months earlier. Regular therapy, distance from toxic influences, and the nurturing environment of our chosen family had allowed her natural confidence to emerge. Her artwork was selected for a citywide student exhibition, and she'd formed a close friendship with Zoe and 2 other girls from her art class. Mom, she said one evening as we walked home from the exhibition opening, I don't feel bad about myself anymore when I think about Mackenzie. Is that weird? Not weird at all, I assured her. It means you're healing. Dr. Melissa says that sometimes people who feel bad about themselves try to make others feel bad too. Do you think that's why Mackenzie and Aunt Rebecca were so mean? The insight took my breath away. That's very possible, sweetheart. People who are truly content don't need to tear others down. Lily considered this, then said, I hope they find a way to be happy without hurting people. Her compassion, even toward those who had hurt her, filled me with immeasurable pride. 6 months after Thanksgiving, Lily won first place in her age category at the district art competition with a piece titled Inner Strength. The mixed media creation depicted a small tree growing through concrete, its branches reaching towards sunlight while its roots spread deep and wide beneath the surface. It's about how we can grow even when things are hard, she explained to the judges. And about how what makes us different can also make us strong. As I watched my daughter confidently discussing her artwork with competition judges and visitors, I reflected on our journey. The painful break from toxic family relationships had created space for healthier connections to form. The absence of constant comparison and criticism had allowed Lily's self-esteem to strengthen like those roots in her artwork, providing a foundation that couldn't be easily shaken. We celebrated her victory with our chosen family, Uncle Robert, Mrs. Jenkins, Diana, and Zoe, and others who had become important parts of our lives. The gathering was joyful, supportive, and notably free from the tension that had characterized our biological family events. Later that night, as I tucked an exhausted but happy Lily into bed, she asked a question that had clearly been on her mind. Mom, do you think we'll ever see Grandma, Grandpa, and Aunt Rebecca again? I sat on the edge of her bed, considering my answer carefully. I don't know, sweetheart. If they can understand why their behavior was hurtful and make real changes, maybe someday. But what I do know is that we don't need them to be happy or complete. Lily nodded thoughtfully. I used to think family meant people you're related to. But now I think family means people who make you feel safe and loved just the way you are. That's exactly right, I agreed, kissing her forehead. The family we choose is often more healing than the family we're born into, and watching you bloom away from the shadow of comparison has been the greatest gift of my life. As Lily drifted off to sleep, I thought about the journey we'd taken since that terrible Thanksgiving day. The path hadn't been easy, but it had led us to a place of greater authenticity, stronger boundaries, and deeper joy than I'd thought possible. Sometimes, I realized, the bravest thing we can do is walk away from what hurts us, even when, especially when, it comes disguised as family. And in that walking away, we make space for what truly nurtures us to take root and grow. I'd love to hear about your experiences with family dynamics or how you've handled difficult situations with loved ones. Have you ever had to set boundaries with family members? How did you teach your children about healthy relationships? Please share in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if our story resonated with you. Thank you for being part of our journey to healing, and remember, you deserve to be surrounded by people who celebrate your uniqueness rather than using it against you.